Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. As you know that government has taken the initiative to educate our students through online classes, which I believe is a great effort, great step towards literate Pakistan. Well, I am Sobia Qazi, lecturer in English department from Zubeda Girls College, Hyderabad. I will teach you English lesson definitely, and that is from interclass. And the lesson is The World as I See It, which is written by Albert Einstein. Before proceeding to the lesson, I would like to give you some introduction of author. Albert Einstein, he was born in Germany in 1879. Well, he was a famous scientist. He received Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921 because of his contribution. He was regarded as the greatest mathematician, physicist of his century. His writings for the layman are few, but they include an introduction to the general theory of relativity, which demonstrate, like the essay below we will study, that he had an admirable talent for straightforward exposition. Coming to the essay, in this essay, The World as I See It, Einstein has expressed his personal philosophical views about the purpose and ideals of life, democracy and dictatorship. He has contrasted both of them, war and peace, mystery and religion. We are going to start our lesson. I will read it. I'll try to read it line by line. Let's see how much time it will take. Well, what an extraordinary situation is that of us mortals. That means mortals means there who will die, who will face the death. Immortals, that means who will not die. So we are mortals. Extraordinary situation. Whose situation? Our situation. Each of us is here for brief sojourn, temporary stay. Sojourn means temporary stay. That means we human beings are here for temporary stay. For what purpose he knows not. We do not know what purpose of our life is. Though he sometimes thinks he feels it. But sometimes we feel that we can understand it. But from the point of view of daily life, without going deeper, we exist for our fellow men. In the first place, for those on whose smiles and welfare all our happiness depends, and next for all those unknown to us personally, with whose destinies we are bound up by tie of sympathy. That means that some people whom with we are related for the happiness, whom somewhere we are tied with sympathy, or we have to live together. That shows actually the connectivity of human being with each other. 100 times every day I remind myself that my inner and outer world or life depends on the labor of other men, living and dead, and that I must exert myself in order to give in the same measure as I have received and am still receiving. I am strongly drawn to the simple life and am often oppressed by the feeling that I am engrossing an unnecessary amount of the labor of my fellow men. I regard class differences as contrary to justice and, in the last resort, based on force. I also consider that plain living is good for everybody, physically and mentally. Here he is trying to tell us that how some people work for us, living or dead, they are working around us. We do not understand, we do not notice them. He says we have to work for them for their welfare. And secondly, he is saying that he does not believe on class system, on the class system where someone is a master and other is a servant. He believes that everybody should work by their own self, physically and mentally. He actually tells us about the importance of equality. Now let's move to second paragraph. In human freedom, in the philosophical sense, I am definitely a disbeliever. Everybody acts not only under external compulsion, but also in accordance with inner necessity. That actually shows that whatever we are working, that is not external compulsion only, but our inner necessity. As Schopenhauer saying that a man can do as he will, but not will as he will, has been an inspiration to me since my youth and a continual consolation and unfailing wellspring of patience in the face of the hardship of life, my own and others. This feeling mercifully mitigates the sense of responsibility which so easily becomes paralyzing. Prevent us from taking ourselves and others people too seriously. It conduces to a view of life in which humor above all has its due place. This paragraph, his philosopher believes in perfect freedom, but he does not agree with them. He thinks the action of an individual are determined by environment forces as well as by his natural urges. Natural urges, that means natural passion, which is actually a driving force. And now he believes in the philosophy of Schopenhauer, who says a man can do as he will, but not will as he will. Now it shows how somewhere your internal forces or your passion is a driving force. Whatever your passion says, it guides you to do certain things. Now let's move to third paragraph. To inquire after the meaning or object of one's own existence or of creation generally has always seemed to me absurd from an objective point of view. And yet everybody has certain ideals which determines the direction of his endeavors and his judgment. Endeavors, your success, your efforts, your everything, judgments, your assessment. That actually means in this paragraph or sentence you can understand that objective life of point of view of life is nothing, but whenever you are living with a meaning or with your role models or ideals in your mind, that means you are living real life. In this sense, I have never looked upon ease and happiness ends in themselves. Such an ethical basis I call more proper for a herd of sowing. Ideals which have lighted me on my way and time after time given me new courage to face life cheerfully have been truth, goodness, and beauty. Without the sense of fellowship with man of like mind, of preoccupation with the objective, the eternally unattainable in the field of art and scientific research, life would have seemed to me empty. The ordinary objects of life, endeavors, property, outward success, luxury, have always seemed to be contemptible. This paragraph again he reminds us about the importance of fellow men. He says you cannot judge people by objective point of view, but you can judge by people by their truth, goodness, and beauty. Other ethical bases, a herd of swine. Herd is a group of swine. His ideals are truth, goodness, and beauty, on which he judged the other person. Whereas the outward beauty or the outward luxury, outward success, property, these were always contemptible for him. In the fourth paragraph, my passionate sense of social justice and social responsibility has always contrasted oddly with my pronounced freedom from the need for direct contact with other human beings and human communities. I gang my own gait and have never belonged to my country, my home, my friends, or even my immediate family with my whole heart. In the face of all these ties, I have never lost an obstinate sense of detachment, of the need for solitude, a feeling which increases with the years. Here he explains that his social justice and social responsibility so dominant that he was detached by his country, home, friends, family, and everybody. He says, I gang my own gait. Scottish dialect, go one's own way. Well, that means he was so detached, he was in a love of solitude because he thinks that a man can form his opinion, habits, and judgments without being influenced by any person if he leads a life of solitude. One is sharply conscious, yet without regret, of the limits of the possibility of and sympathy with one's fellow creature. Such a person, no doubt, loses something in the way of geniality and lightheartedness. On the other hand, he is largely independent of the opinions, habits, and judgments of his fellow and avoids the temptation to take his stand on such insecure foundations. So I explain these points. Now going to fifth paragraph, my political ideas is that of democracy, let every man be respected as an individual and no man idolized. Idolized, you know, that worshipped. It is an irony of fate, and that I myself have been the recipient of excessive admiration and respect from my fellow through no fault and no merit of my own. The cause of this may well be the desire unattainable for many to understand the one or two ideas to which I have with my feeble powers attained through ceaseless struggle. Now, in this paragraph, you can see how humble this person is, but this person believes on that there should be no idolized or there should be no worship of a person or hero worship of kind of thing. There should be merit in all wear. I am quite aware that it is necessary for the success of any complex undertaking that one man should do the thinking and directing and in general bear the responsibility. But they must not be compelled, they must be able to choose their leader. An autocratic system of caution, in my opinion, soon degenerates, for forces always attracts men of low morality, and I believed it to be an invariable rule that tyrant of geniuses are succeeded by scoundrels. For this reason, I have always been passionately opposed to systems such as we see in Italy and Russia today. He attributes the causes of the failure of democracy in Europe to the weak and incapable rulers. He believes everybody should have the right to choose their leader. There should be no kingdomship, there should be no Gaussian system or autocratic. Every country should follow the democratic rules. The thing that has brought discredit upon the prevailing form of democracy in Europe today is not to be led to the door of the democratic ideas, such, but to lack of stability on the part of the heads of government and to impersonal character of electoral system. I believe that in this respect, the US of America have found the right way. Now, here you can see that he is actually in favor of democracy. They have a responsible president who is elected for a sufficiently long period and sufficient powers to be really responsible. On the other hand, what I value in our political system is the more extensive provision that it makes for the individual in the case of illness or need. The really valuable thing in the pageant of human life seemed to me not the state, but the creative, sentient, capable of feeling and perceiving thing, Sentient individual, that means capable of feeling and perceiving things of an individual. The personality, it alone creates the noble and sublime, while the herd as such remain dull in thought and dull in feeling. In this case, he says that government or political system has to take the responsibility of an individual whenever he is sick or whenever he is facing the problems. The government should be the responsible one. Seems to me a mean, contemptible thing. I would rather be hacked in pieces than hard in honorable business. And yet, so high in spite of everything is my opinion of human race that I believe this bogey would have disappeared long ago. The sound sense of the nation's not been systematically corrupted by commercial and political interest acting through the schools and the press. He hates war. Clearly, he defines that war is a contemptible thing, would rather die than take part in such hateful business. Wars breaks out because the sound sense of the nation has been corrupted by the political and commercial interest. Now, the last paragraph we should read. The fairest thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion which stands the cradle of true art and true science. He who knows it not and can no longer wonder, no longer feel amazement, is as good as dead. It was the experience of mystery that endangered religion, a knowledge of the existence of something we cannot penetrate, of the manifestation of the profoundest reason and the most radiant beauty, which are only accessible to our reason in their most elementary forms. It is this knowledge and this emotion that constitute the truly religious attitude. In this sense and this alone, I am deeply religious man. Enough for me the mystery of eternity of life and inkling the marvelous structure of reality, together with the single-hearted endeavour to comprehend a portion, but it ever so tiny, of the reason that manifests itself in nature. Here he believed that mysterious thing is the fairest thing in life. To experience the mystery can help you to understand the true art and true science. And for that he believes is a deeply religious man who follows the mysterious path of eternity. Now this lesson ends here. I hope you understand that lesson. Now for vocab, please go and find out from dictionary. And I hope so. I have tried my best. If you have any question to ask, please note down and you can ask me through that channel. Thanks a lot.